Let's jump to this next one. This is from Candace Owens, who tweeted, "Earlier today, I learned that Kanye West was officially kicked out of JP Morgan Chase Bank. I was told there was no official reason given, but they sent this letter as well to confirm that he has until late November to find another place for the Yeezy Empire 2 Bank." This is nuts. Here's a letter. It says, "Dear Yee," is that his real name now?
He had it officially changed.
Now. Wow. Yeah. All right. There you go. Mm-hmm. We are sending this letter to confirm our recent discussion with blank. JP Morgan Bank has decided to end its banking relationship with Yeezy LLC, et cetera, et cetera. The first thing I'm going to say before we get into the political ramifications of this is make sure you are using Parallel Economy. I know it's a relatively new financial service co-founded by Dan Bongino. Shout out to Dan, who's doing tremendous work to help fight back against censorship. If you become a member at timcast.com, we default Parallel Economy. Support businesses that are fighting back, that believe in these values. Parallel Economy is one of them. Kanye West, I will say it right now. Candace Owens, Kanye West, talk to Parallel Economy. They're not a bank. They do financial transaction services, but talk to them, because if Kanye said, "Okay, I won't use Chase. I'll use this bank and I'll use this financial service," it could be a major movement towards pushing back against censorship. And Kanye is big enough to make a huge impact in that regard. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You will own nothing and you will be happy.
You want to take this one or should I? You don't own your money anyway. People think that's their money. That's what Federal Reserve notes on loan. They can take them back if they want. They can shut you down.
Doesn't it even say on like money or something about that?
It says Federal Reserve note. It's a promissory note that they give it to the American government. The American government promises to pay them back $1 plus interest for every dollar they borrow. It's such an insane system.
Ethereum, wow. Right, Luke?
No.
No.
The other guy was shilling for it. But that's another topic to discuss here. Again, decentralized currencies are another
Bitcoin.
thing. But the Federal Reserve is building their own centralized digital currency, which is going to lead to behavior like this tenfold. And this is not the first time that a major banking institution punished someone because of their opinions. I think that's what's happening here. We don't know exactly what's happening here. Maybe there's some accusations by Chase Manhattan that they didn't want to, of course, make public, but it's most likely what's been happening previously before, and that's, we don't like your opinion. We're going to make sure you can't exist in society. We're going to make sure that you, as an individual, can't have any free flow of transactions, which is absolutely crazy.
Can I just give a shout out real quick to Candace Owens' profile picture on Twitter? It's the communist fist appropriated by BLM holding wads of cash.
And it's melting.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
You don't like Ethereum?
I question everything, and I'm skeptical of everything. So again, when it comes to a lot of these digital currencies, I think skepticism is your best friend.
Ethereum is clearly better than Bitcoin, Luke.
I told people...
Mark Zuckerberg is your friend.
Yeah, I told people from the very beginning, invest what you're willing to lose, because it's a Wild West market. I do believe there are tremendous opportunities for decentralization, especially when it comes to privacy coins, things like Monero. There's a reason the IRS is sending out messages and letters saying, please help us crack Monero. There's a reason Amazon and Jeff Bezos are building technology that will break, of course, encryption. So I do believe in privacy coins, but I don't believe in what the World Economic Forum and a lot of the other big bankers are pushing, and that's centralized digital currencies. The CEO of BlackRock was just talking about how the situation in Ukraine is going to lead to a bigger push for centralized digital currencies. That's essentially what they're pushing for, a social credit score where they will track, trace, and database and punish you on the fly for wrongthink, just like they probably did to Kanye West with Chase Manhattan Bank.
I'm pretty flabbergasted. I didn't know that banks and PayPal, of course, at the moment, I didn't know they could actually do this based on your views. They can just say, okay, well, we're going to take your money, or you can't use us for your money. I had no idea that was allowed.
They can't do that in the UK?
Well, I think they can, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know until
I'd
recently.
imagine it's probably worse in the UK.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
The PayPal stuff started happening to quite a few people I know in the UK. I started seeing it happening on Twitter. Loads of people saying, well, my PayPal's closed. No one's told me why. Don't know what's going on. I mean, I've been stressed out about the whole free speech thing for quite some time now, just the way people are clamping down on it, using culture and the press to stop people just having views. Look, the Kanye West thing, I'm Jewish. I've grown up Jewish. My family's Jewish. Friends are Jewish. I was, properly actually Jewish. It's very offensive what he said. I take it with a pinch of salt because he's Kanye West. He says mad things all the time and whatever. Exactly. You hear it every day anyway, so okay, whatever. But I wouldn't want to have a bank that doesn't allow people who disagree with me or say horrible things to me to be able to keep their money there. And it's the same with speech. I want people who've got opposite opinions to mine to be able to say whatever they want, and people can decide if they want to listen to them,
Would you have debanked Hitler if you were running the bank that he was using when he declared war on Poland?
Nice, dude.
I think once you've started a war, it might be a bit different if you're trying to stop. But I don't know. That's over my pay grade. What would you have done?
He was getting financed by the
would've
Bushes and the Rockefellers, so
would've
he had no
Prescott Bush.
I would have
Prescott
debanked
Bush,
him and
yep.
used my bank as a weapon to win the war. I mean, I'll be honest. That's what this is. I mean, we say it's a culture war. We kind of joke and laugh. It's a real culture war.
Sure.
Like it's a domination for your mind.
Sure. But that's different. That's you trying to win a war. We're not trying to win a war against Kanye West.
But sanctions and war happen all the time. Tons of people say we're no longer going to do business with you and your money's frozen. This is a private citizen in the United States being told that he's being kicked off of a bank. Now, we don't know exactly why. They didn't say why, but we know why.
Yeah, we all
He's in the news. They're saying he's offensive. I think this is actually really, really bad for Chase, and they made a big mistake because we saw what happened with PayPal. Their stock is down. I think I don't know where it's at right now. Let me check PayPal stock for the day because it was up early. Let's see where it's at. So it's up 0.87%, but in the past 5 days they're down 10%. So since this news broke over the weekend, they're down 10%.
Dude, while you're here, look at their last 5 years. Look at what happened April 2020 to PayPal stock.
Yeah.
COVID is announced. Gazao, all these people made 3 times their money and then sold it all. And then they went back to normal. Someone tripled their money.
But that means someone lost their money. And I imagine it was pension funds.
I think a cabal of organizations tripled their money by investing in PayPal through the pandemic and then got out. And then a bunch of people that were trying to ride the wave probably bought in while it was up.
Yeah, people knew commerce was going to, of course, happen online and not in person and not in real life. So it was an investment that a lot of people predicted.
I've heard stories from people who bought Moderna stock. Someone told me this, that they bought Moderna stock right at the start of the pandemic because they were like, oh, the media's talking about it. And then what was that, like a 100 times increase or like a 40 times increase on your money?
I don't know.
Investing in these machines and then getting rich off them, like investing in PayPal, knowing that people have to buy online and they can't use,
Mom and pop stores
Right.
and bodegas.
So there was money to be made. I don't think it's necessarily what you think it is, Ian. It's probable that a lot of powerful elites were playing games. I think a lot of it was people being like, I'm going to invest in PayPal and Amazon and Netflix, and all of their stocks skyrocketed because people couldn't leave their houses. So maybe it was his name. Paul Pelosi? Is that yeah?
Nancy's husband?
Nancy husband?
Yeah, the
Is that
glorious Paul
Yeah.
Pelosi.
Great trader, smart guy.
He's very smart,
on Wall
So
Street especially.
It's almost like he's like psychic, like he just knows these things are going to happen.
Yeah, or like he has like his wife has some inside scoop or something.
It's almost like his wife is the Speaker of the House and has an inside track on what bills are moving
It's probably
forward.
more likely that he's psychic.
It's almost as his
Yeah.
wife is making all the decisions in big industry. That, of course, is directly correlated to some of the big trades that he's making.
Welcome to the modern era, my friends. They went after Kanye West, man. I guess that's what happens.
Well, we still don't know exactly what happened here. We could speculate. It's probably because of his more spicy, controversial, topics and conversations. I've been seeing like a little scuttlebutt of what he's been saying. But again, when banks get more involved, when there's more social pressure, this is creating a society that is essentially a social credit score. You can't think the wrong things. You can't express the wrong things. And even if you do express the wrong ideas, at least have the ability to be able to, of course, have them challenged, have them questioned, because that's how you stop someone from believing in bad things. You question those things and you actually talk them through it instead of just censoring them, which actually pushes them to the further extremes and has them go to places where they get more radicalized and they get more crazy belief systems, which again is psychologically proven to be true.
I think that you're right that diplomacy and communication is the way. Is kind of the United States was based on a bunch of people that didn't agree, got together, and then they started figuring it out together. And they didn't have global wars. But the problem now is that I don't speak Russian, I don't speak China, I don't speak Mandarin, and so to debate and have conversation globally in this it'd be like if people in West Virginia spoke Mandarin, but people in Massachusetts spoke Russian. But we're still expected for those people to somehow work together. It wouldn't have happened. They had a common language. And now in the globe, we don't have a common language. We kind of have English, but I don't understand the Russian guys speaking Russian. And that's a big...
And I don't understand what Kanye West is saying half the time, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It's like hard to... And I'm not trying to-
we listened to one of his shows, him and
and it was
Rogan.
just like,
and Tim was
what?
like, I do not understand. I was like, I get every word, man. He's just a wild...
He's tuned to
an
that
empath.
frequency.
Yeah.
No, his Tucker
got dreams.
Carlson interview was very coherent. It was very good. Yeah, we listened to that.
I thought he was eloquent there.
Yeah, and then Vice came out and was like, listen to what Kanye really said, but Tucker edited it out. And I was like, it's just not, that's like one controversial thing. he's a black Hebrew Israelite, I guess. Kanye West believes that he's a true Jew. And I'm like, I don't know. I maybe Tucker Carlson took it out because it didn't flow the conversation. And it's like they cut it for time.
Yeah.
Oh, because Judaism is passed through blood. That's the idea. And so he says his great ancestors were Jewish.
No. Black Hebrew Israelites believe that black people are the true, children of Israel or whatever, and that the people there currently are like occupying it and stole it from them or something.
Interesting philosophy.
When BLM first started getting really big a year or two ago, that was quite a difficult time for a lot of Jewish people because a lot of anti-Semitism came from there, and then there was a lot of sort of Jewish black rivalry stuff going on for about a year or so.
So I lived in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, and there was a huge Jewish, there were shootouts between Hasidic Jewish people and the black community. It was weird.
Yeah.
And they just set up like a mobile command at like this dividing line between the two neighborhoods. And I didn't really understand it. But then several years later, when I was covering a riot in Baltimore, and these kids were talking about they were Muslim, and they started talking about a lot of this stuff, and they were just like coming up to the cameras and then yelling stuff, and then people started explaining to me like Farrakhan and all this stuff I wasn't super familiar with, and I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Right. So you've got these people who believe really, really anti-Semitic things. Fair. We saw the reporting from I think it was the New York Times and Tablet about the heads of BLM were extremely anti-Semitic, spreading these conspiracy theories about Jewish people and all that stuff. So,
well, this was a really weird time because BLM was everywhere in the UK. The UK, I mean, in some senses, is further left and more woke than America, and in other ways, in other senses, it's the opposite. We tend to take our lead from you guys. Something happens here, and 6 months later, it's like all over the UK. And BLM, of course, that happened in the UK, and it almost doesn't make sense. The statistics and everything in the UK, it didn't really make sense. I think like 3 black people over 10 years had been killed by police or whatever. It's a total. We don't have as many black people in the UK. It's a totally different thing. But BLM went crazy, and then I had to go to like soccer games, right? And I would see just like the T-shirts had BLM all over them. BLM was written everywhere, and I'm just sitting there with my dad and that, and we're just watching it like as Jewish people. We're like, well, where's my decision in this? Because I know that the organization, I don't have a problem with the words Black Lives Matter, but that organization, the anarcho-Marxist anti-Semitic thing, why do I have to watch that on my football club now? It wasn't nice to have to watch.
So you talk a lot about cults and stuff like that. We mentioned earlier in the show that the wokeness is very much a kind of cult, but what are your thoughts on all this in the United States, in the UK, just generally in the West?
It's just a bit what I think it comes from status and or status. I think you guys say, right?
Yeah.
So status. There's a theory, and I owe a writer called Will Storr for this about status. Status. We sort of evolved in tribes, and there were 3 types of status. One was dominance, one was success, and one was virtue. So you would get more of the food if you were particularly dominant in a tribe. You would get more of the food if you were successful. If you're successful in a tribe, you would start. You're maybe good at making the fire. You invented the wheel. Everybody's going to share their food with you. Now, if you're not particularly dominant as a person, if you're not particularly successful, the third option was virtue. And you had to show that you're a really nice guy. You're going to share your food with people. You're going to help someone if they need it. Then they're going to share their food with you. But the thing was, you didn't actually have to be virtuous. You didn't have to actually help people. You had to make it appear like you did.
Signal your virtue.
Exactly that. And they found there've been studies shown that people who do that a lot are more likely to be psychopathic or narcissistic.
That makes sense. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.